Guzman. Absolutely honored that you have chosen to spend your lunch hour with us. I want to let you know that this is going to be an entirely engaging opportunity. There's no such thing as a silly question. There's no such thing as I don't want to comment to that. I love when you nod your heads, when you throw me hearts. I love engagement. I love when you show emotion, because although Zoom can sometimes allow you to forget we are all absolutely human, right? And so thank you, Tom, for kicking it off. Thank you, Correa. I appreciate it so much. So here we go, maximizing events through membership. I'm extremely passionate about this, and I want to tell you a little bit about myself. And I know that our Madam President is going to be helping me here with our presentation. So a little bit about myself.
Are you ready for the screen for the
Yes.
presentation? Okay.
Yes, thank you so much. So again, my name is Kyshana Guzman. I put up on the screen some of the titles or positions or things that I've held that I'm extremely passionate about, either now or previously. I'm a real estate team leader within my office. I lead a team. I am a Women's Council Realtor speaker. I have held several different positions, the different capacities within Women's Council, either national or local, state. And I have also chaired some committees, and I'm extremely passionate about being a governor for the largest association in the country, Miami Association of Realtors, along with the Florida Realtors Director, RPAC major investor. I serve at my local church, and I am a proud mother of twins to Kalia and Jezariah Morales, which are 18 years old. Why do I share all of this with you? Because I want you to know that I am just like you. I have different hats, and I know that sometimes it could seem like, wow, how are we supposed to grow our network? How are we supposed to grow and focus on events when it could be so challenging with all of the things that you do? And the only reason why it is possible is because it is not just you. You have a team of people around you. And that's what we're going to go over today. Next. Our objectives. So in our time together, we're going to dive into membership growth. We're going to dive into how do we do that. I want you to leave here, team, absolutely linking and understanding, tangibly linking the events that you do to membership growth. And you say, well, why do you say that? How is that possible? Here's how and here's why. I say that because I am a firm believer that everything, and I say absolutely everything in your actual network, rises and falls with your leadership, including events, right? But without events, you will not need anything else. There's no president-elect, there's no secretary, there's no events director, there's no other position needed, because you won't have members without events. Why? Because we are an events-driven organization. So the importance of tangibly linking that is major. I want you to be able to integrate networking into your events. Why would I put that there? Why would we talk about that on a national level with Women's Council nationally? Well, it's because a lot of people may not know how to network. So your intentionality in leading them through networking at events is critical. Another point that I want you to think about as an objective is event promotion and the actual importance of taking the time to walk through your event, to promote it with a timely manner, so that you can feel that it's been effective, so that you can feel that you've reached new crowds, so you have new faces there, and so that you have your time well spent, that it wasn't just another event. And lastly, I want you to be able to link the value and understand how events are about more than just getting people to attend, but rather it being a healthy way to embody the mission and the values of who we are as an organization. And who are we? Well, we're a network of successful realtors advancing women as business leaders in the industries and in the communities that we serve. Next. Thank you. Now, I want you to take a moment and we're going to walk through this exercise. And I want you to take a minute to reflect on a past event that you have attended that has been mind-blowing, has been memorable. I don't care if it was a wedding, if it was maybe a networking event, maybe it was something to do with a group that you are a part of. Think about that event. What kind of pre-event marketing did you receive? Were you excited to register? Why? Why was it that you were excited to register? Did you like who was going to be speaking? Did you like the marketing that you saw? Think through, like, what did you hear and see when you first got there? Let's think about your parking experience. Was it something that was super smooth? Your valet was shining, smiling, friendly? Did you have signage throughout the event that showed you where you were going as an attendee, as a guest? Did you have the name tags that showed you exactly where to sit? What did you hear? What did you taste? Did you feel like the warmth as you were walking in? What did you experience post-event? Did you join the organization? Did you text somebody about it? Did it leave you wanting to do the same thing again? What was your experience? Was it memorable? Next. Take note. Take note for 1 second. Maybe I'll give you 10 seconds to just take note on something that you remember from that event. Anybody want to share something that came to mind for you automatically? You can just unmute. Anybody been to any memorable events lately?
I've got one, Kyshana.
Go for it.
It's Maria Elena. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi there. So recently I went to the Stellar MLS conference in Lake Mary at the end of February.
Okay.
I'm
Awesome.
on one of their committees. And it's interesting because they made it, they wanted us to be there. We can't wait to see you. We look forward to seeing you. Here's a survey. What would you like to talk about? How did you do this? We can't wait to see. It was like constantly, we can't wait to see you. We hope you're involved. We're glad you're coming. It was all leading up to the event, but it was all them looking forward, not us looking forward to seeing them looking forward to seeing us.
Okay, I love that. And how did that make you feel?
Like valued, like, oh my God, they really want me to come. They really recognize that we're going to be here.
Right, right. And so what did that do for your experience before you even got there?
Well, it made me want to be involved.
That's it, right? Because people want to feel needed. They want to feel valued. They want to feel seen. They want to feel heard. Thank you, Maria Elena. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes, Tom, go for it.
Hi, Kyshana. Thanks for doing this today.
Of course.
I live in Northeast Florida, and I was involved in Rotary a few years ago where they had a district conference event where about 500 of the most influential people in Rotary in Northeast Florida met for the conference at the Daytona International Speedway. And it was really cool because one of the takeaways I had from that event is very similar to what you're talking about. It is the culture that happens within groups, and that is the excitement that has people wanting to come back. Most importantly, invite their friends, because membership grows when the members invite other people to come.
That's it. That's it. And so much so that it left an impact on you. And as soon as we started thinking through that, you thought about that, right? And like someone said in the chat, that's the secret. That is the secret sauce, is when people feel like they are seen. So if they miss 3 events, you are already like, where you been? I haven't seen you around. That's a big deal. Yes, Beth, go for it. Thank you, Tom, for sharing.
So, Women's Council Sarasota just did their video for casino night, and they're almost sold out because of that video they just posted on Monday.
Yes.
And it's amazing. And I'm excited to go. And my husband, who never wants to come to a women's council event, wants to go to this event. And I said, well, you know, it's a women's council event. He goes, I think it's going to be amazing. I want to go. And so it got my husband to be supportive of me and what I do. So I'm kind of excited to go to the casino night for
I
Women's
love
Council
that for you.
Sarasota.
I love that for you, Beth, so much, because you just shouted out something that's major, right? Not only for you to be able to attend and follow that marketing, right, experience that you've already had, but that you also get the opportunity to bring somebody with you. And that's what it's all about, that somebody else gets excited because of the event topics, because of what's going to happen. And that's what we're going to dig into a little bit more. Thanks for sharing. So now I'm going to ask you a very, very basic question. And I know you're probably thinking, Kyshana, where are we going with this? Why does your network host events? Why does your network host events?
To make money,
Okay, there we go. What
get the
else?
word, to get the word out about Women's Council.
Okay,
Bring value to our members.
there you go.
Their learning experiences.
Perfect. Anybody else?
To be a
Why
part
do
of the
Grow our industry and the professionals in it.
That's it. Anybody else? One more.
To build the membership.
Okay. And that's what it's all about, right? So I want you to keep those basic things, because we do it for our business, right? We ask ourselves why. Why are we doing this, right? At least we should be. We should be asking ourselves, even on a weekly basis, because the market has shifted in many of our markets, right? So why am I doing this? Why is this the reason? The reason why I used to do something before may not be the reason now. So I want you to think about this as you're planning all of the rest of your events that you're going to be a part of this year, that your network is going to host. Next. So we spoke about value being something that's major, and I think you all touched on this in some way, shape, or form. Professional growth is so important, because let's think about it. Why is a member going to renew automatically and pay a couple $100 every single year to renew to the network if they are not growing? We all know that your business grows to the extent that you do, right? And we know that the network is going to grow to the extent that you're growing too. How are you bringing others along with you? And that leads me to the next point, relationship building. Ask yourself, when was the last time that I reached out to a new member and invited them to do, and when I say you, it could be you or someone on your team, and invited them to do the Pledge of Allegiance at your event, invited them to be a part of an actual project team? Because how will they know that the value of this organization? This organization has impacted my business and it has changed my life. I am a huge cheerleader for the Women's Council of Realtors. And you may say, well, girl, you haven't visited my network. I don't have to, because I have built relationships around the country. I have met women that have been members and men for decades, and their business has exploded through this organization. So why wouldn't you want to bring other people to be a part of that? I've gone to other cities to speak. I've seen other presidents come along. I, along with your Madam President, were presidents in 2020 where we needed to connect. We needed other people around us. And that professional growth was so impactful. It was so moving. Events, we didn't have events. It was COVID. We were indoors, but we still held events online, and we had to think about themes, and we had to think about things to do that were so different so that we can build relationships, grow through our business, and make sure that professional growth was always at the top of mind. And this is what your members want as well. This is why they're going to come back. This is why you won't have to make the calls for them. Are you going to renew? Are you going to renew? Are you going to renew? They're going to want to renew because they feel the value through the events and the networking that's happening. Next. So now I'm going to skim through this slide because I don't want for you, you can say, Kyshana, but our network is just rebuilding, right? We don't have the capacity to do this. Through any part of this presentation, I just want you to take notes of the things that come to mind for you that you can work on. It's not so much the number, right? Or the money value. It's that you're making a goal to move further along and be better than you were yesterday. So I'll skim through this. Industry and networking events, our manuals say that we should be doing about 6. I know that our national president says plus, right? So make 6+, and that's what it is. So if you want to do 8 events, if you want to do 10 events, if you want to do an event every month or every 3 weeks, that's up to you. We have for a guide or a model 4 industry events and 2 member only or networking relationship building events. We're going to go through the fact that your industry events and anything that you're doing as a network should be timely. It should be relevant. We talked about development of your business and your leadership skills, and then incorporate some sort of collaboration. How would you do that? Well, I'm sure that there's realtors within your either board of governors or your governing board or your members that are part of other organizations. I know Tom just spoke about the Rotary Club. Like, how are you involving other people in other organizations? There's NAREB, there's NAREP, there's other real estate organizations, ARIA. How are you involving them in your events? How are you collaborating to make it more powerful? I know I just recently attended a women's council event, and they collaborated from my home network. Shout out to my home network, Broward Network. I know that they collaborated with some of those very same organizations, and it made the event that much more powerful because you have more marketing opportunity and you share the cost. Your networking and relationship building events for members only should be events where you're driving engagement and networking, right? And you want to make sure that the ROI is felt, that there is a return on the investment for the member. I've seen some networks do those for free. I've seen some networks do those with a cost to them. How you do it is really up to you and your team. The most important thing is that it's done. Now let's dig a little bit more into industry and networking events. Let's talk about planning. So there's 4 major parts of planning. I want you to hear me when I say this. This is not up to you. I want you to think about how many, actually, let me do the question. How many people actually have, you can put your hand up virtually, how many people actually have a project team lead for events? I'm scrolling through because I don't see you all at once. No one has a project.
What do you mean by project team lead? Like, do we have a chair per event?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, just any sort of person that is actually, so there's project teams, right? So I don't know if you do it where you have a chair that is actually a chair all year long, or that there's a chair per event, but how many people actually utilize that position so that they're not the direct contact for everything?
Yes, we do in Palm Beach.
We do have.
Yeah, we do in Jacksonville.
And
Okay. Two? Only
yeah, in Palm Beach.
Okay, so there's 2, right? So I want that to be a challenge for the rest of us that are on this call. It doesn't matter if you actually get a chair just for your next event, because as a president, you have so many hats that you're wearing, and you're not able to really truly dive into enjoying this if there's not someone else and another perspective or another few perspectives that are able to lead the event. Right? Now, this person is not making decisions on your behalf. It could just be that this person is gathering thoughts from other people, maybe calling your network members to see what they would like to see, like Maria Elena spoke about earlier. So one person that's going to be your point person. I think somebody had a question.
Yes. Do you mean the event director, or because I'm a little confused as far as, right, like the president, right, is, the tippy top, and then, right, you have all the rest of us.
So some
Our network has
do
an
it-
event director.
Okay, so some networks So for starters, I know that every network does not have an event director, right? For those that have an event director, some event directors actually empower a project team lead, right? So that if there's 7 different events throughout the year, they have one person that's working on every event throughout the year, that's actually leading that and bringing them back information, because obviously we know that this is not all information that should be discussed in your board meeting, right? This is not, we're not discussing the events in your board meeting. So it's really just leveraging however you choose to do it, whether it's your event director or that your event director appoints different project team leads for every event. The whole thing that I want you to do and focus on is, oh, wonderful, every network has an event director here. That's awesome. So it could be that something that's directly that's your event director that's directly doing with your event team lead. But what I just want you to focus on is that it's not you, okay? So when I'm talking through these things, these are all things that I want you to not actually think about. That's one more thing that I have to do, because I know that's very common for us to do as presidents. So topic and speakers. Why should anyone attend your event? These are 4 main things: topic and speakers, venue, budget, and logistics. Topic and speakers. Why should anyone attend your event? What is it that you're talking about? Who's going to be there? Venue. Who can you collab with to actually offset the cost of that event? How about your budget? Your goal is to make a profit. I remember speaking to a group about events in the past, and there was a lot of people that raised their hand that said they don't make a profit on most of their events. You have to think about that for a second, right? If you're not making a profit, that's your number one goal. So every event, you should be doing a budget to see what is our goal for this event. And we'll get into that a little bit more. And then logistics. Marketing and your project team with your event director, making sure that they have a good amount of time to market the event, whether you choose social media, flyers, connecting with your local association to get the word out, whatever that looks like, because that marketing should be like some of the marketing that we heard earlier, that's very impactful and it'll keep you moving. Now, the next slide is one of my favorites, because we're gonna dive right into topic and speakers. What are some hot topics in your market right now? You guys can unmute and just shout them out. What are some top topics in your market?
Your cooperation right now.
Okay, awesome. What else?
Technology.
Branding.
Technology. What was the other one? I'm sorry.
Branding.
Branding. Perfect. Anybody else?
Fire breather agreements.
Education.
Okay, perfect. What else?
AI.
AI. That's a good one. What else?
All the changes legal wise.
Yes.
We just had
Exactly.
new ones come down yesterday from what I
Absolutely.
understand.
That's a great one. How about insurance? How about property taxes? All of these are actual topics for your next events. Think about it for a second, because I often speak to boards that say, well, they're learning it somewhere. They must be going to the association. They must be going here. They must be going. How do you know? How do you know that? Maybe there was an association that put on that event and they weren't able to attend. So what are you doing to stay relevant and to have some of those topics on your rotation? What do your strategic partners offer? Any special service for your members? Any special services for your members? Connect with them, call them, go out to coffee and see if they can offer special services for your members and actually talk about them, be of value. Maybe one of your strategic partners is your next event speaker. Maybe they can talk about AI. Maybe they can talk about the changes. Maybe they can be the one to lead that, right? And how are they going to be able to help agents generate business or save money? Because that's what they want to be able to do. They want to be in front of your membership to be able to help them and make partnerships that last, right? Not just take a check and say, hey, you can take my $2,000 check for the year and never show up. No, we want to make sure that our strategic partners are providing special value for our members. So how can you partner with them in the near future to make sure that for your next event, they are getting more exposure and maybe they're able to offset a lot of the costs for your event? Next. All right, so let's talk venue. Now, just to get it out there, this is actually a venue of an event that I attended. It was a rooftop in Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood to be exact. And it was such a great and different vibe from downstairs, valet, signage. It was an event done by the local network. And it was the experience was just really, really great. Think through that. Where's your location? Is it a rooftop? Is it a warehouse? Is it a restaurant? Is it a farm? Is it a new development site that's offsetting a lot of your costs? Do they serve food or drinks? What are your hidden fees? What fees exist if the plan doesn't go as planned? All of those things you want to be able to know before you lock in a venue. What are the extra fees outside of the vendors? Maybe they tell you, yeah, you can bring your own food, but maybe they tack on a fee of $2,500 if you bring your own food. Well, we got to know that ahead of time, right? Is it going to be easy to locate? Can you implement signage? Do you do a walkthrough before your event? How many people do walkthroughs? How many of you presidents do walkthroughs? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Super important. Why do we do a walkthrough? We want to make sure that we know not only where the registration table is, because that's what most people want to know. You want to know what the person is feeling and smelling, seeing from the time that they park. I've been to an event at a warehouse and I had no idea where the front door was, and it was creepy, and I left. Now, I paid tickets, I paid for tickets to go to the event, and you got to think through those things. Like, is it something that is really welcoming, that that the person is going to find memorable, or are they getting there in heels and they're tired, they're exhausted, they're not really engaged? You want to think through all of that as you're planning your event. Don't skip that step. What's the backup plan? If it's outdoors and it rains, what's going to happen? What happens if it doesn't go as planned? How much is it going to cost you? What are the parking arrangements? I want to know before I get to an event if it's comped, if I have to pay $20 for valet. Are you communicating that in your emails? Are you communicating in your emails where to park and who will talk to them? These same ambassadors or people from your project team, from your events project team, or that the event director leads, these are the same people that could be out there guiding them, because you always want to think you either have signage or you have a person. So there's either an arrow that's pointing me to where the hallway that I'm walking through, or there's a person that's welcoming me, guiding me to the next step. Does that make sense? Awesome. What are your instructions prior to arrival? And you want to make sure that your deposits are down, that are down pat, that you've taken care of everything so that you're not worrying about that as the event is starting. Negotiate everything. How many people negotiate prices on events? I mean, that's what we do for a living, is negotiate, right? So you want to make sure that you're negotiating the prices on these events. If they tell you a price, is that the final price? How can we get that lower? Now, this is going to be a sample budget that you're going to see. And this budget is a sample, right? I don't want you to focus so much. I realize that right now we have, you may be working it through different platforms, and Becca does. I love that. You may be working it through different platforms, or you may have just, one devoted place that you do your budget. I just wanted to post this out there as a sample, okay? Now, notice that there's 3 areas of breakdowns. There's a revenue area, there's strategic partners, and there's expenses. So I want you to focus on, what are your member prices? What are your non-member prices? And what's your door pricing, okay? What's the proposed and what is the actual? This budget, whatever you choose to do it on, again, the platform or how you do your budget is not as important as actually doing it. Make sure that you are constantly checking in on your actuals, because you want to know. In this case, they proposed $2,600 as income, and they actually got $2,750, which is great. Your strategic partners, again, don't focus on the amount so much, but I just want to make sure that you're actually comfortable doing this, or your event director or your team. proposed, what is the proposed number and what's your actuals, right? Going back to that. And then your expenses. What did you end up spending? Were you able to get someone to sponsor something? So maybe your food and beverage, you didn't have any costs, which is often a large cost. Maybe you didn't have any cost on that, but you had to take the hit on the venue, okay? Again, and then you total it at the bottom, of course, and we all know that. But are we actually being intentional about doing the budget before, the budget during, and the budget after? How many of us are actually intentional about that? Just one person on the call is intentional about doing a budget before, during, and after. So maybe we could start implementing budget. Lisa, there's two. So maybe we could start implementing the budget because that is extremely important. Why do I say that? Maybe you planned on spending $3,000 for this event and you have to change the location last minute because you just weren't able to do what you had to do. And that's okay. We want to make sure that even if you're doing your budgets for all of the events coming up and you realize, you know what, these next two events, we're going to have to do them at new development sites because they're going to be able to give us the tour and offset the full cost of it. And we won't have to take such a hit so that we can have some money built up for future events. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go next. Logistics. So we want to make sure that we're thinking through the critical things. What are critical things? Your lists, your event director's list or your project team leader's lists. We want to make sure that we're meeting with all vested parties, right? Before the event, during the event, and what we see the most that people forget is after the event. Why? Because maybe you're not hosting that event again this year, but your focus is not just on this year. Your leadership expands to who you leave it to, right? So as the new president comes in, your president-elect, you want to make sure that you're talking and discussing things that maybe they didn't see, but you saw. So getting everyone's input on what did we do right? What did we miss so we could fix that before the next event? What is something that was really, really valuable? And what is something that we just missed the mark on? All of those things are notes that you want to leave for the incoming presidents that are coming in after you, right? So that we can continue to grow the network and learn from each other. Who's doing what? We discussed that for a little bit. What additional details can you organize for future, for current? I know I have an agenda. I have a note on my phone, and I know several people that do this, and I've been doing this since I was president, of just events that I liked, that I enjoyed, that I attended, and writing notes on them so that if I go to a restaurant and they have, oh, maybe they have something that I caught my eye as soon as I walk in. Well, the next time that I plan an event, maybe we could do that. You know, dancing people on stilts, whatever that looks like for you, but just always taking notes so that you can implement some of those things into your events for future if it's of value for you and the member. If alcohol is at the event, of course, is insurance, like all of these things that you want to make sure you have your event insurance. Registration, does it flow? Does it have the Wi-Fi code there? Do people know how they can sign up to be a member? You know, your ambassadors, do you have an ambassador for first-time guests? What does that mean? What does that look like? Appoint someone. Make sure that if there's a first-timer guest or a new face, that you're connecting them to the next person. That you're allowing them to know that there's somebody else that they can connect. Oh, you know what? I want you to meet John. John will be really good because he actually serves in your area. He's a vendor that does XYZ. Additional entertainment. What organizations or groups can you involve? Your AV, you want to know who's signing the contracts always. I know that's always been a big deal amongst the networks. And of course, your project team that we spoke about, just so you know and remember, you are not alone. I know some networks have goals for how many members they want to actually incur for each event. Have you ever thought about that? Does anybody here do that? Maybe that's something that you can think about for future. So you think, you know, we have 3 major events that are coming up. Well, maybe your goal is, you know, fill in the blank, 3 new members, 4 new members, whatever that looks like for you from those events. And then you can check and engage whether or not you met that. How was it? Any questions, any ahas, anything that you just, even if it's one thing that you took away from this, that you are writing down and you're going to start to implement soon?
I can say, this is Elena from Tampa. I can say I wish I'd seen this before I was event director last year in 2024. Super insightful, and I cannot wait to share it with
Thank
those
you.
who were not on the call today from our network. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And listen, if there's any way that I can serve your network, my information is on the next slide. So anything that you want, you know, I can hop on a Zoom just the same with anyone that you have to take take my information. I'd love to be able to help because I just want to see y'all win. Anybody else? One thing that hit you different that you're going to implement?
More videos.
Yay!
We just love you. And if we can implement you in our daily lives, I think that'd be great. You know,
I
I
love
always
you.
love on you. You're like the best.
Big
But we're
hug. Love
gonna
you
get
too.
together though. I would love to have you come to Palm Beach or I'll come to Fort Lauderdale. So we have to get together. We promised that. So let's do it.
Yes. Thank you, Lisa. Love you. I appreciate it. My pleasure. Do me a favor, everyone on this call. This is my gift to you. You've probably seen this a million times. Maybe you haven't. But this is, scan this. This is, oh, thank you. Thank you for all of the feedback. I'm seeing it in the chat. If you scan this, it's going to take you to an event guide. And this event guide, it's something that's done 60 days out. You have the option of sending this to others, but this event guide should be like your business plan for every single event. So if you have 7 events that are coming up, if you have 4 events that are coming up, make sure that you're starting through this event guide, and it'll make your life so much easier. And every time you're talking about it, you're reflecting back to this event guide, or your event director is, and it will have everything in one place. And that came from Women's Council National many, many years ago, and has been a saving grace for many. Thank you so much for having me.
If everybody has had a chance to scan that, I'll stop the shares so that everybody can see everybody's face. Are we all good? If for some reason you didn't catch it, it will be available in our link tree, WCR Florida 2025 later today, once the video is processed and we have a time to put it on our YouTube channel. You all know we have a YouTube channel, right? So, so you're all going to be famous. So what'd you think? Unmute?
Awesome.
Do you want more like this? So
Yes, please.
We're here to help you. So you tell us what we can do for you to help you grow and thrive in your networks.
Very valuable information. Thanks, Natalie.
Natalie, can you go over the membership drive that you are pushing us to do by March 31st, correct?
Well, we're actually extending that out to the end of April because the website, National's website,
I was so sorry.
for you to get your members to sign up. For those of you that are serving on your local lines, you're aware that every year, for our August conference, our local networks provide what we call a staycation basket. The I live where you want to travel to type, with a minimum value of $500. And so this year we have given the local networks the option of writing a check for $500 or providing a basket. But as an extra incentive, the network with the most gain in membership between March 12th, I think that's when our line call was, and April 30th will not have to do that. So they won't have to go out hunting hotels and restaurants. So we thought you might enjoy having that taken off your plate. So So which network is gonna win? Put it in the chat. In addition to that, National has offered a membership drive that's through March 31st. I don't know if they're gonna adjust that or not. I haven't heard anything. That they are giving the state network that has the largest membership growth in the first quarter $1,000.
When
And
is the quarter end? April 30?
No, March 31st. So I don't know if National is going to adjust those dates or not. I have not heard. So let's just assume March 31st. So now that the website's up and accepting membership, I'm also telling you all that you can do paper membership. Just have them fill out the paper form and they can send that in and they'll get an invoice from National. We're trying to figure out ways to help you guys and incentivize you. So let us know what we can do to help you.
But the website is up, Natalie. Why do we still have to do paper?
No, I said if they have problems, they can do
Oh,
paper. The website just came up and it's still in need of a little bit of tweaking. I have not heard of anybody that's actually tried to have somebody sign up as a new member, how smoothly that process is going yet. I will tell you, it has me listed as president-elect. So either you're getting me for another year or or there's a little bit of correcting to do, at least on some of the sites. So, it always takes a little bit to get these websites off the ground. There's a lot of data going on. But what I'm seeing, if you have not been on WCR.org in the last 2 days, please go on. The first thing, you're probably going to have to change your password, but once you do, update your profile. We have an internal referral system now. It's really going to benefit you to have a robust profile on there. Anything else? What questions you have for Kyshana? Lunchtime not over yet.
What are some fun events that you have coming up?
Yeah.
Go for it, Elena.
Tampa sold out our public speaking and branding event yesterday. It was fantastic.
That's
The
awesome.
room was literally a buzz.
I love that.
And not only did we get people wanting to join who have asked the membership director and stuff, I've been getting, and I'm sure some of the others have been getting emails from non-Strat partners, how they can become one as well, which, listen, we know Strat partners are beautiful for all of our networks.
Mm-hmm, for sure. What are you guys doing different this time around with all of the people that came? Like, what's your follow-up?
Well, we were on the heels earlier this month. Our association did a women's brunch. And because they tagged Women's Council, Tampa Network as part of it, I personally invited via text every woman who attended there. Right. I used the Reach app, right? So it wasn't just me typing out to, 150 people, but we had 40 attend and 45, it was 40 paid. 45 was the cap for the room, like with fire code and stuff. So, factor in the 2 speakers, we were at 42. It was wonderful. We've added more social media pushing on top of the, email, Eventbrite and constant contact things.
Right.
But a lot of it really is, right, like, let me invite you directly, Kyshana, right? Like, hey, I hope you come to this event. These are, some things. Because the personal invite, whether we're using technology to extend it like a person.
And membership's going to follow up with everybody that came and say, thank you so much for coming. Here's our next event. We hope to see you there.
I love that. I love that so much. And you brought up such a good point, Elena, because there's so many people that don't know about Women's Council. So imagine searching your hashtags and doing, I mean, that's what we did, right? Like that you have to do things that are out of the box. And at that time, actually, Madam President and I were talking about it before y'all got on a call, but you know, in 2020, we were doing so many things creatively on social media. Now it's just like, oh, we'll just post and go, you know, and it's the connection of one-on-one is so gone, right? I know 2 organizations in South Florida, because you could imagine South Florida, just like I'm sure many of your cities, there's so many things that you could do, so many events that you could attend, right? But there's 2 organizations that every single one of their events, they're sending me a DM about it. So because we know that we can't rely on algorithm, right? Even if I follow them, I still can't rely on an algorithm or for it to come up on my feed. So they direct message me every single time there's an event. How amazing is that?
I like that with the DM.
I'm never
And
gonna
I
miss
know
it.
that can be automated too.
Yeah, I'm never gonna miss it. I see all of their events coming up. So if you say, and again, y'all, I want you to win. I want you to win because when you win, we all win, right? We have more agents that are available to send referrals to grow with. Like, I want for you to think out of the box. And if you need help, I really mean it. Bring me in or get on a mastermind with each other and really network. I remember, and President Nally knows this, we started masterminds with other agents from around the country, okay, initially. And the reason why we did it is because it was COVID. And I wanted to see, what was your city doing? What's your city doing? How many people do you get to events? What's your favorite event? Even now, I'm not a president. And even now, when I go to events for Women's Council, national events, local events, I ask, what's your best event? What do you like the most? You know, like, I don't have to be a part of your network to help you. You know, sometimes when you figure out what it is that you need to do during your presidency, it's time for you to pass the baton. So be real with yourself, right? What area do you need help with? And be transparent about it. I came into my presidency during probably four months into the year as a president-elect. I didn't have training. I had to ask because I didn't know what I didn't know. So as a president-elect, I started almost halfway through the year. I am not hiding that I don't know from anybody. Elena, if I would have asked you, what are you doing next? And you said, I don't know, I would have made this into a session for us to think through what it is that she could do for the next steps for all those new people that came to your event. Because if you're not keeping it real, you are not admitting that you are human. Sorry, I'm a little passionate about it. And I'm also Puerto Rican, it comes out.
I love it. Soy
We
boricua
love the
también.
passion.
Love it. Love it.
So any questions that you
Love
have, I'm here to serve you. You have my contact information. And again, I, along with your entire leadership team, we want to see you win, you know, and it really is about giving back. And it really is about pouring into those people that come in, because they're not just people. Your members are not just people. I mean, that's who chose you to be in that position. And they're not just people that, you know, that give a fair game. One last thing that I'm going to leave you with is, you know, reach out to people that you don't know, to plug them in. And I'm extremely passionate about that. There's people that honestly, the president, you'll find they don't know a lot of the members, and that's okay. But for you to pick out the same 3 or 4 people to do all of the tasks all of the time, you're doing a disservice to the rest of your 50 members because you're not giving them an opportunity to do everything. We're not cliques here. That's not what we're about. We're about growing each other's businesses and being who it is that God has called us to be for such a time as this, right? We want to serve each other. These agents that are coming to your event are to your events that you may not even know are the people that are on the other side of the transactions that you're serving, right? That you're working with. These are collaborators. So you want to make sure that you're able to grow your business and I'm sorry, your network, and in turn, your business will grow.
I have to piggyback on that because, and I will be totally real and transparent with you all. As incoming local network president, and then again as incoming state president, I both times had to look beyond my comfort zone and had to ask people that I didn't know to help me. And it's probably one of the hardest things we do when we're in a leadership role, wouldn't you agree? Is to ask for help. And then to ask for help with somebody that you may not recognize walking down the street, but you pick up the phone and you have a real conversation with them and ask them their women's council why. Why are they engaged in the council? What brought them in? What is their passion? You know, one of the instances that I can tell you is from our Punta Gorda network with installation. One of their newest members stepped up and offered to do the tablescapes for installation. I had no idea she had that type of experience. I wouldn't have known that. There was no way for me to know that unless I talked to her. Another one is our local network president in Osceola. Many of you have used her talents for creating either t-shirts or just local network, what I call tchotchkes. And you know, through a conversation with her, I found that that's how she relaxes, is by creating graphic designed items. And she helped us create that Stronger Together logo this year, you know, and put it on everything. And that was through talking to somebody. Kyshana and I wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for the council, you know, and we have developed a friendship and a bond that will last far beyond our service. And Maureen, you're another one. I you know, every time I think of San Francisco. So step out of your comfort zone. I can't begin to emphasize that enough. You know, those people will appreciate you asking so much. Even if they say no, it's never no, it's not now.
Yeah.
And so you just ask them, okay, I understand. Can I reach back out again in the future? So.
Very true. And
Yeah.
think about it, you may have gotten there by somebody asking you, so now it's our turn to ask somebody else.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity, Madam President. I appreciate all of you for being on this call and rejuvenating me, and any way that I can serve you in the future.